China's ascent as the global manufacturing hub has shifted the world's economy. It attracted trillions of dollars of manufacturing investments from the United States to Europe and even East Asia. They were all attracted by the country's low labor cost and low barrier regulations. This shift led to a rise in profits for businesses due to cost savings, even considering the expenses of shipping across the Pacific. However, as China grew over the past decade, it saw wages rise. An increase of fuel and transportation costs skyrocketed. Currency fluctuation became the norm, and most importantly, China's political prowess along with it. Millions upon millions of people and thousands of businesses have been shifting away from China due to these circumstances. Why would they continue to stay in China if it is now expensive to do so? And why would they stay if its government has been in a trade war with the United States? That brought the businesses from the US to reconsider their presence in China. They went on to look elsewhere, from India to Vietnam, but one of the countries that they found the most appealing is Mexico, which is arguably the best option. Mexico has emerged as a country with so much appeal to the United States. And it's not just because of geography. It is due to a lot more factors. The biggest and most important factor is always wage. Mexico is now more competitive than China in terms of wages. According to a series of data, as of 2021, the average wage for manufacturing in China is about $840 US per month. In Mexico, it is nearly half of that, at $480 US. On top of that, there is also demographic stability in Mexico. Demographic stability has emerged to become a crucial factor for manufacturers. China's manufacturing workforce and overall population is declining. It is estimated that China's population will drop from 1.4 billion people from today to just less than a billion people by 2080. While the date is far-stretched, it is crucial to consider long-term trends for investors. Further, the population median age has also been rising over the past decade. In 2010, it was just 34.1 years old. In 2023, it is now at 39 years old and is expected to continue rising. Compared to Mexico, the story is the exact opposite. Population will continue to rise from 129 million people today to over 155 million people by 2060. Its median age is also far lower than China, which sits at 29.8 years old in 2023. Now, here's where things become better: shipping cost and efficiency. It is easy to already see how efficient it is for goods to travel from Mexico to the United States. They can travel through land, sea, and air, and would take only a couple of days, if not hours. There is a distance of over 9,901 kilometers from Shanghai to San Francisco. Probably the only time efficiency China has to offer over Mexico is through planes. But that would cost a lot compared to your usual cargo shipments and land-based trucking. It is estimated that shipments from China can take around 36 days and cost $2.63 per cubic foot, while the same shipment from Mexico takes about 2 days and costs $1.26 per cubic foot, making Mexico a more efficient and cost-effective option for manufacturers. To put it in a better view, a 40-foot container from China to the US, on average, takes 5 weeks and costs $4,300, versus just 1 week at a cost of $1,800 from Mexico. Lastly and finally, Mexico boasts better foreign ties with the US, along with economic and political stability. The country also boasts a transparent regulatory framework, which at the very least is better than China. We would never forget that Mexico's economy has risen over the past few years. The country, which only had a GDP of $707 billion in 2000, is now worth over $1.4 trillion in 2022. But it would do us no good in this video if there is actually zero evidence of everything we've talked about. Who are the US companies moving or expanding in Mexico recently? Well, the most simplest data to see is from the US-Mexico trade. According to official US government data, US goods imports from Mexico totaled $454.8 billion in 2022. Up 18.9% from 2021 and up 64% from 2012. Further, U.S. foreign direct investment stock in Mexico was $130.3 billion in 2022, a 7.6% increase from the previous year. In 2022, it was also announced that U.S. companies were going to invest over $40 billion in Mexico through 2024, as these media companies reported that the U.S. is seeking for a regional partner that can rival China. Individually, however, things are very bright. The most appealing of all may come from Tesla. Tesla has been opening gigafactories like no other. In Mexico, the story seems to be the same. Tesla CEO Elon Musk in 2023 reported that Tesla has been planning to build a new factory in the northern border state of Nuevo León worth more than $5 billion. Elon called it the biggest electric vehicle plant in the world. General Motors, another U.S. automotive company, has also announced its investment plans of over $1 billion in Mexico back in 2021. Unilever has announced continuous investments of hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of Mexican pesos over the country. Unilever stated that they are for creating a factory, and Unilever Mexico and Latin America president stated that this will increase its export capacity to over $1 billion to the US, Canada, and across the Americas. These are just among the many examples out there, and we are likely to see more. But we can't be too bright. Sure, it is important to see the positive side. However, there are also things we need to look out for. First, one of the primary concerns is infrastructure. Despite improvements, Mexico's infrastructure for transportation, logistics, and telecommunications may not yet be on par with that of China. This could pose challenges for businesses accustomed to the efficiency and reliability of Chinese supply chains. Another concern is the skill level of the workforce. While Mexico has a growing and youthful population, there is a need for more investment in education and vocational training to ensure the workforce can meet the demands of increasingly sophisticated manufacturing processes. The skill gap could limit Mexico's appeal to high-tech industries and those requiring specialized labor. More importantly, however, is that there is also a growing trend of Chinese investments in Mexico. It has been reported that manufacturing investments from China to Mexico are on the rise. The famous Hofersen Industrial Park, located in the middle of the desert in the Mexican state of Nuevo León, is about a 2.5-hour drive from the U.S. border. A project estimated to cost $1.2 billion broke ground back in 2017. The site alone is also not the sole investment project. In 2021, it was estimated that Hong Kong and China investments rose 76% from the year before to $606.3 million. What makes these investments even so special is that they are targeted in U.S. borders. Mexico, in total, has drawn investment from 1,289 Chinese companies as of 2022. Okay, but what does this imply? Well, it can mean that even China wants a piece of Mexico's investments. But it could also mean that they want to bypass some of the tariffs the U.S. imposed to China. Tariffs on Chinese goods have made manufacturing in China more expensive for American companies. These tariffs are essentially taxes that increase the cost of importing products from China to the United States, reducing the cost advantage that Chinese manufacturing once offered. By producing goods in Mexico, these companies can take advantage of the lower tariffs Mexico offers from its trade agreements. Or to put it simply, manufacturing in Mexico could allow Chinese companies to avoid the higher tariffs imposed by the United States on goods produced in China. The conversations about China losing to Mexico can truly be complicated. But anyway, do let us know what you think. Thanks for watching.